Today we're working on Spain by Chick Corea. It's Paul Tobey here from Jazzmentl.com. Thanks for joining me for another one of my tutorials. This one's going to be a little bit different because Spain, even though it's probably one of the most iconic jazz compositions of all time, I still think there are some things that we can do to improve it, especially if we're playing it solo piano. I recorded it before this session. I'm going to play a little bit for you from time to time to show you the 5 different ways that we're going to change Spain to make it more interesting. Now, it's going to be really difficult to get rid of the melody. That's obviously the thing that people recognize the most. So we're not going to do that. What we are going to do is find some harmonization ideas that make it sound a lot more interesting. So there's 5 of them. Let's get started with number 1. I'm going to start right at the end of the introduction. We're not going to focus on the intro today, but I'm going to start there and then go right into the first line, which is highly recognizable. Let's play it now. There it is, that really fast moving line with both hands, typically playing in unison, octaves apart, but not in this case. I've changed it. So let's take a look at the sheet music. There's the end of the introduction, and here we are right at the A section. Now, if you notice the top line, it's normally played in unison like this. Instead of playing it in unison, we're going to play it in tenths. And this is obviously a third plus an octave. So like this. It just makes it so much more interesting. Listen again, this is unison. And this is with tenths. Now it's going to be a little bit trickier to play because of course the hands aren't doing the same thing. So the fingerings are going to be a little bit different. I would encourage you to try that with whatever fingerings works for you. I'm not going to show you my fingerings because it's different for each person and you'll figure it out. Okay, there's our number 1 reharmonization. Let's move on to number 2. We'll go back to the recording and listen. And what we're doing there is using the 6th diminished scale to reharmonize that line that moves upward. So starting on bar 22, you're going to play a G chord in the right hand, except it's going to be in first inversion. But if we made that a G6, it's a major 6th diminished scale. We're going to drop the second voicing, which is the E, down to the bass, and that becomes an E minor 7 chord. So again, these are drop 2 voicings, and then every other chord becomes a diminished chord. So E minor to F sharp diminished, to G major, to B flat diminished, to B minor, and because of the melody note, this last one is not a diminished chord, it's a half diminished chord. Otherwise, it would have been an E flat, but because the melody's in E, we have to make it a D flat, minor 7 flat 5. So one more time from bar 22. How fun is that? That's a different sound for sure than Chick Corea had intended, but I think it sounds really great, especially when playing solo piano. All right, let's go back and listen to number 3. So there it is there. It's a little bit different than the first one. The melody line is almost the same, except it ends a bit differently. So we're now on bar 26, and we're going to use the 6th diminished scale. The difference now is we're not going to move the bass line with the right hand. It's going to go down in the opposite direction, making nice counterpoint. So the left hand goes from G to F sharp to E, down to A, then G, then F, and then let's scroll down a little bit so you can see that, and then E, E flat to D. So it sounds like this. I think that sounds really nice, and it definitely adds a lot of texture to your solo piano version of Spain. Let's go back and listen to the recording, and we'll focus on the next one, which is number 4. And that's it. That's the iconic line from Chick Corea's composition, which everyone knows. It's written here in the B section, and it is a line that's typically played unison like this. But instead, we're going to voice it using tenths. Now, it's not always going to be tenths, but what we are going to do is switch the left hand a little bit as long as it matches the key of the moment in the right hand. And it's a really great sound. We're going to play it slowly from B. And we need to scroll down a little bit to get to here. Again, I think that just sounds amazing. It's obviously quite difficult to play because the left hand is playing a different note, a tenth apart from the right hand. So therefore, again, you're going to have to work out the fingerings and whatever fits for you, but you're probably going to have to practice it several times, just like I had to. In fact, even writing it out, finding the right notes to play was a bit of a challenge, but I do think it sounds nice in context of the entire tune. And just before we get to number 5, which I think is the coolest one of the bunch, all of them have been great so far, but number 5 is really going to help you play amazing solo piano. Just before we do that though, I want to talk a little bit about our Zoom masterclasses. So right now, once a month, we're getting together with a small group of people who are deeply committed to advancing their jazz piano playing. It's interactive. So unlike our masterclasses on Saturday, which are free and on YouTube, and you can only communicate through chat, these are small group masterclasses where people can play on Zoom. There's assignments, downloadable sheet music. I believe that these masterclasses are the absolute best value on the internet. You'll find that out when you go visit the landing page and read all about the masterclasses. So when you're over checking out the courses and you decide that this is something that you want to do, I'm going to put a coupon code right now on your screen that you can use to save 25% off the monthly cost of these courses. I believe that's absolutely the best value in masterclasses online at the current moment. So I encourage you to join me, but use this coupon code. In addition to saving money on the classes, I'm also going to give you this sheet music, Spain, absolutely free. Typically, it would be around a $20 value, but I'm going to include it if you use that coupon code. All right, let's get to number 5, which I think is really going to help you with your solo piano version of Spain. Let's listen. It's starting right now, right here. What is it we're talking about? You guessed it, we're talking about the bass line. I've actually written this out, and I think it's really important because if you just play block chords or just pads in the left hand or even just left hand chord voicings, I don't think it's nearly as effective as playing this type of bass line. If you take a look at your screen at C section, what you've got is a dotted quarter note and then an eighth note tied to a quarter note, which makes both of those the same length. And then you end off with a quarter note at the end of the bar on beat 4. And then beats 3 and 4 of the next bar play the 5th and the 3rd of the chord. Like that. So it sounds like this. And in my world, that's kind of like a salsa bass line, and it works really well to drive the tune forward, give it some feel, some energy. Again, I think it's a lot better than just playing block chords in the left hand, maybe like this. Doesn't really work well for solo piano. You need these types of bass lines to really help you with the tune. Okay, there you go. There's my 5 reharmonizations of Spain. I think it's going to make you sound quite a bit different than everybody else who plays Spain. I actually posted it on the Jazz Pianist group on Facebook, and people are really loving the reharm. So I hope you had a chance to pick up some good ideas and that you're going to sound great at your next recording or performance. And while you're here, if you could just reach down and hit the little thumbs up button on this video, it would really help us here at the channel. If you want to subscribe, we'd love to have you. Just hit the little bell and we'll notify you of our upcoming videos. So whether or not this tune is your thing or not, I don't know, but if you're looking for other things to do, I talk a lot about inner voices on this channel. You might want to check out this video next.